guys. Happy whatever the fuck day it is. I hope everyone is doing well and that you guys are just feeling like your best selves right now. Without further ado, we follow the nudges here in this house. That's all I have to say about that. We follow the nudges. So we're just going to start off with Egyptian tarot and see what insights we can glean from that. Hello and hello. Okay, cool. We're already getting hit with it. Cool. Cool. I don't know, obviously, when we're going to be done with this deck until we are done with it. And it looks like we're done with it. Okay. Excellent. So, as you know, we read from the manual here, so I will just go right on ahead. We have 2 major and 2 minor arcana. So we're just going to read from major to minor. How about that? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let's see here. The first one is the Hermit. And the Hermit says, prudence, the experience acquired through the light of intelligence and of prudence, the armor of the sage, wisdom, prudence again, solitude, research, renunciation, and discretion. Okay. Next to that card I had here, I'm actually going to just do this the way that I'm being led to. I don't know why I keep trying to warn y'all about what I'm doing when I don't even know. But we're going to go ahead and go right into the Hermit card that was next to this minor of the 8 of Wands. And I'm already seeing some papyrus shoots, but I'm not, yeah, okay, there we go. 8 of Wands, the shoot of papyrus, mobility, ambition, and potential. Okay, so these two are supposed to be hanging out together. Oh my god, look how cool I am that I can hold 2 cards at the same time. You got the Hermit card with your 8 of Wands energy, and then your next one, your next major and minor, are, I know that this is the Hanged Man already, because it's pretty specific looking. The Hanged Man, expiation. Devotion is a divine law from which no one is exempt. Penitence, sacrifice, reparation, pardon, transition, and illumination. Interesting. And then the minor card with it is the 10 of Cups. This says the chalices of the souls, happy union, harmony with one's fellow men, a good reputation. That makes sense. So papyrus shoots are interesting. When they come up, I'm always like, I'm very fond of them because it's a very specific thing to say. You could say that it's a papyrus, which this deck makes very clear distinction between a papyrus and a papyrus shoot. And usually the difference is the difference between what is fully matured enough to be used in service to whatever the papyrus or the paper is supposed to be used for. Excuse me. Or the immature stage. It was 444 as I choked. So, someone's throat chakra is being attacked. I know mine is. I know every single time I do a video, I'm I'm experiencing something after the fact, it's not lost on me. And hey, you know what? What's done in the dark will just embarrass you in my face later, right up in the light, because it's all love and light over here, you know? And it feels like there's an immaturity happening. A papyrus shoot is just the immature version of what it's known for being, a papyrus, you know, a piece of paper. It comes from, yeah, the wind's blowing, distractions everywhere, confirmation. Papyrus shoot is just Nile grass, you know? It is the raw material. And whenever I see, you know, a shoot of papyrus, I see that you have the potential for things, like it says, but you do have a lot of work you have to do. You need to be, 555, you need to be in your hermit space for that. The growth that you need to be doing in order to become this thing is this hermit space right here. On the other hand, it looks like you're also kind of in a situation where you're needing to change your perspective on things. The Hanged Man is an interesting card because usually it means that you're stuck, but it means that you're in a bind because you're needing to change your perspective on things. This one, though, interestingly enough, it feels like you're being prepared for this Ten of Cups energy, this idea that, you know, harmony, good reputation, all of these things that I don't think you realize you can have even in your immature state. So there's some confusion here about what your baseline boundaries should be in the world with others and yourself. Interesting. That's interesting. That's cool. And as always, I'm feeling uncomfortable, so we're going to hit you with the African Goddess Rising Oracle and get some clarity from Divine Mothers out there in the astral plane, see what our Mother Goddesses have to say to us about that. I'm watching this like Blue Ocean 8K video because I felt like watching fishies in the water, but I think this is just the same yellow fish. Just swimming around over and over. I'm sorry. We're in like a whole dark reading and I'm over here cracking up over yellow fishies. Yeah, so anyways, let's get some clarity. Divine Mama. Mommy. Divine Mommy. I should quit playing around because she showed up hella hard. She straight up showed up. I'm dead. Interestingly, I was the person who, you know, made this deck and the beautiful book and the beautiful community that all of this is from. She has a deck that I think just came out, and it's actually like a continuation of one of the cards that I pulled. So I don't remember what it's called though. I think Seasons of Ocean. I'll look it up and post it in the description. I haven't gotten it yet myself, but I am thirsty for it. My broke ass is thirsty for it, but I have a couple things I need to prioritize first before I get that. But I will get it. It's on my wish list of things to get. Ooh, alright. Okay, we have our 7-card pull here for the goddesses. The mummies have spoken. And I'm just going to go in order of how they were laid out for me, and we'll have a conversation about these tarot cards that we pulled. Your Hermit and 8 of Wands immaturity growth process. It looks like both of those things. You're needing to kind of like be in love with yourself despite your immaturity, and also change your perspective on the things that the universe is trying to give you, and you're being resistant with your own bullshit ass fears is what I'm gathering. But it's not bullshit ass. The goddesses are telling me that it's not bullshit. We need to have a conversation. So let's talk. The first card here is Nimba, goddess of harvest. Passed it. Passed it 3 times like a doof. Okay. Abel is a Baga fertility goddess, and Nimba is her living spiritual healing mask. Together they embody the sacred feminine and abundance. Guidance. Give thanks. You are being blessed. It is time to harvest. What the fuck did I tell you? The fucking hanged man and the 10 of cups. Anyways. Pray attention. A season of great harvest is a season of great epiphanies. You are prospering. Epiphanies. So this hermit energy is up in here too. Embodiment. Harvest is when you reap the blessings that you have sown. The harvest is not just the fulfillment of your dreams, but the creation of them. Your thoughts, your imagination, the blessing of you being here another day on this earth, that is all harvest. What seeds of generosity, love, support, and goodwill can you sow in your community to create a bountiful harvest? Declaration, we are always prospering. Absolutely we are. Excellent. Now the next one though, we can flip through. I'm just going to leave them out. The next one is Aunt Nancy, shadow goddess of betrayal. Let's have a chat. Let's talk about this shit that's locked up in there. That you got locked up in there. Anansi, or Kwaku Anansi, the Akon trickster god and sacred clown, snuck into our global folktales. Some of y'all may know Anansi from that bitch-ass Gaiman's American Gods. He had that beautiful quote in there that I absolutely still love to this day, where he went the fuck off. That Anansi? That one. While Gullah Geechee children heard tales of Aunt Nancy, the trickster spider woman, the author's Guyanese parents entertained them with Nancy stories about a witty teen spider. Guidance. Who really betrayed you? Betrayals from others mirror you betraying yourself. Embodiment. Betrayal is a web that disrupts everything you thought you knew. Use discernment in your relationships. Betrayal makes it difficult to trust. But without trust, your relationships are a lie. Trust that no matter what happens, and no matter how long it takes, you will survive and thrive. The real question, how have you betrayed or abandoned yourself? Goddess declaration, I am willing to know the truth. I know that I usually try to wait till the end to talk about things, but I'm just gonna take a quick moment here and just do a recap of the last video. We had a conversation last time about you quitting your shit. That's what this is. Quit your shit. How are you betraying and abandoning yourself in the face of all this beautiful 10 of Cups energy you're supposed to be stepping into, my guy? Ugh, the way I want to say bad words. But that's it. I'm gonna quit being a dick. Because I love you and I care about you and I know you're going through it. The next one is Oshun. That's why I laughed. That is why I laughed. Because I'm over here ooh, mommy, and then mommy showed up. Goddess of fearless love, because yes, these betrayals were ass, but your harvest requires your fearless fucking love. Let's get into it. Number 25. Talk to me, Mama Oshun. Goddess Oshun is the exalted Orisha of honey, sweet waters, love, sensuality, fertility, and beauty. But the Yoruba Lady of Gold's anger and jealousy can also flood and destroy. Guidance. Dare to love. Begin with loving yourself. Allow yourself to be loved. You feel everything deeply. You are porous with a wall around your heart. That is your paradox. Embodiment, you are love. And you are worth loving. Your divine assignment is to remain open to fearless love. You deserve to be loved in your language. You are worthy of a love that remembers your beauty at your ugliest moments. Don't allow your unhealed past to block your future. Don't allow it to block your future love. Real love is a sacred contract that says, I am vulnerable and committed. Your heart is safe with me. Let's expand our consciousness together. That's what it says. Declaration, I give love, I receive love, I am love. Whew, Oshun. The next one was Mame Kumba Bong, goddess of speaking up, because it is time to start talking about your shit. It's time to talk about your shit. You're in hermit mode, but you're preparing to step into a space of speaking, and when I get through the rest of this home slice, look at the fishies, new fishies have happened now. Alright, come through, mama. Mame Kumba Bong protects the mouth of the Senegal River. When making an offering to her, you must not speak to anyone else coming or going. Sing for her, chant for her, call to her. Give Goddess Kumba your voice and she'll be happy. That's right. Guidance. Speak up. Speak out. Speak on it. You have a right to be heard. Embodiment. You are betraying yourself by not speaking up. Your words have power. Own your voice. Like I said, someone's attacking your throat chakra. That is yours, given to you by the divine. It does not matter who the hell it is trying to block your shit, because your shit is yours. It was given to you by a divine, sacred, individualized contract by the divine. Speak the fuck up. Own your voice. As the old saying goes, stand up for something or fall for anything. Being neutral is not an option. When you stand firmly in your truth, you have thoughts, opinions, beliefs, and convictions. What do you stand for? Tell someone today. Goddess declaration, I reclaim my voice and I speak out and speak up. That's right, that's you. Quit betraying yourself. It's time to step into your power. Because here's the thing, Queen of Sheba is up next. Goddess of secrets revealed. All this noise. Whew. 36. Let's get into it. Queen of Sheba. I love Queen of Sheba, by the way. Let me tell you why. Right over here in the Bible, the wealthy Queen of Sheba brings a caravan of gifts to King Solomon. And if I haven't gone off about King Solomon yet, King Solomon was the only one from the time of the Garden of Eden until he became king, was the only one who had the audacity and the courage enough to ask God directly, can I have the guidance and the power of the knowledge of good and evil, what they could not handle, what they didn't even ask for, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, what they just took from you, God. Can I have it? I'm asking for it. I'm asking you directly, can I have that? And God said, not only will I give it to you, in the Bible, in the Christian Bible, that's the story, he said, not only will I give it to you, but you will have it tenfold. That's King Solomon. That King Solomon, this gorgeous person right here, she brought a caravan of gifts to that guy. The Ethiopian Holy Book reveals that she was their Queen Makeda, and that together they sired King Menelik the First. Guidance, open your eyes. Secrets are being revealed. It is safe for you to see the truth. Your inner vision is crystal clear. Embodiment, you don't know what you don't know. The Creator, ancestors, angels, spirits, and ascended masters are whispering to you. You hear them still small voices, I can tell. This is divine intelligence. This hermit mode that you're in, right here, don't fret. This is good shit right here. Pay close attention. There are things you do not let yourself see. Allow yourself to be guided and choose your own path. Declaration, I am connected to the divine, and No one's nasty ass ways, no one's weird ass scarcity mindset, and none of the shit that has happened to you in the past that betrayed you and kept your shit locked up from you can prosper because you are connected to the divine. Period. The next one, I love it. One of my favorite ones, Mawu-Lisa of cosmic power. Whew. You get hit today, cosmic power. So there might be some two spirits, non-binaries, trans people here. As a two-spirited individual myself, like, this card showing up always makes me think of my queer folk, and especially those of us who are tapping into our ancestral energies and spirits and our divine rights and everything like that. Those of us who are locking in with our individual covenants with the divine, not the one that everyone tells us we're supposed to have, not those of us who, or not those of the community that believe that you have to do certain things a right or wrong way, but those of us who are connected to the divine individualistically, that have made the new covenant with the divine, that don't have to answer to toxic communities for where we draw our source material from. This card represents this for me. Cosmic power, Mawu-Lisa. Let's get into it. This is all the way at the beginning, number 2. Mawu-Lisa is the force of mother, father, god, goddess. Mawu is the moon, the divine feminine. Lisa is the sun, the divine masculine. They came together during a fawn eclipse to create cosmic power. Guidance, you are in the right place. Release the fear of your power. Ooh. You are sacred. You are magic. Now that you know this, you can no longer pretend not to. And if you didn't hear it before, and you heard it here first, now you have a divine assignment. You can no longer pretend. You can no longer make excuses. All those titles and all of those nasty things you said to yourself, all those things you've been regurgitating from the betrayals of your past, it don't apply here. It's gone. Done. Boom. You can't pretend anymore that this isn't you. Embodiment, rise up into your magnificence. Love and accept yourself. How many of these goddesses have to tell you to love yourself, my guy? Love yourself fully to unlock everything you seek. Stop pretending to be less than you are. You are both. You don't hang right or left. Both. It's all of it. Don't you tell me that it's love or money. I want both. Ain't no way I'll let you take them from me. I want both. Anyway, sorry. I love this card for that song. Your real power has nothing to do with external gains. Cosmic power cannot be destroyed or lost. Nothing that is done can touch you. You were created by the same force that birthed the sun and the moon. Declaration, my power shines from within. That's you. Your power is yours. Your divine contract. The last one in the deck, Mojaji. No. Mojaji, Jesus. Goddess of manifestation. Look at that. Hold on, I gotta hold this better. Look at that, the storm clouds. Oh, planets, the rain. Oh, look how gorgeous. And that is number 9. Mojaji. Goddess Mojaji is the hereditary rain queen of South Africa's Balobendu people, a matrilineal queendom. Mojaji's daughters dance to the frequency of rain. Guidance. Showers of blessing are yours. She said it's time to reap the harvest. How many times I gotta tell you? You are a rainmaker, master manifester, shapeshifter, alchemist, and sorceress. Open your hands and your heart. Embodiment, yes, make it rain. You are manifesting big. This has been a long time coming. You are co-creating with spirit. Match the energetic frequencies, the ache of your desire. You are magnetic, and like attracts like. Raise your vibration to align with the sacred. Close your eyes and see your blessings. Feel them in your bones. Ask, believe, act, allow, receive. Divine blessings flow to me so easily. I'm telling you, it's never been this windy, like that it's moving a 5-gallon jug of water. And I have the window cracked a little bit. It's interesting. I'm loving this energy so much. It's messy, it's intense, it's engaging. I like that. It's commanding you to be in the room. I like that. Divine blessings flow to me so easily is this declaration. That was good. You had to get a little bit like lovingly cussed out, though, it seems. You're holding on to shit from your past that does not apply to your present, 2626, and does not have any stake in your future whatsoever. You have been manifesting, you have been reaping the rewards. You know, for you it's the little things, and the divine is saying if you can just really tap in to these little things and that still small voice, you will be ready for that big ass harvest coming. But you have to let it go, baby. We're gonna pull from the cartas taínas, and then I'm gonna probably release you. But no, baby, like, you gotta let some shit go. Like, there's stuff holding you back, and it is legitimate. Aha. Interesting. That one fell out. I'm not sure, but you have to let some stuff go, my love, because it's not for you anymore. It stopped being for you a long time ago. That's what I fucking thought. Alright. Let's see. Just a little bit of Taino clarity, please. Let me get some good old-fashioned Native American energy up in here, which I think I may have gotten. I think this is it. Is that it? Ah, yes, Jaja. I hear you. Alright, so I'm being moved to say things. And these are things that I will follow up in probably in the future. Collares, I believe, or collares, these are necklaces, and this is an axe, and the energy of this is binding. It feels like something beautiful was turned into a weapon against you. it is because I believe that this energy, the energy of the semi, which is God, that was removed from its original intention and beauty. It was weaponized. These two are supposed to be in sync, and it just does not feel like it is. And it feels like, interestingly, I have the Kasika, or the chief of the axe. And it seems to me that these cards independently mean one thing, but together it sounds a lot like rectifying a situation. It is the job of this beautiful creature to incorporate this energy back into this beautiful thing that was once supposed to be unifying for everything. That's the channeling I got from my ancestors. But this is what is being said to you right now. So the betrayal that occurred, this betrayal that you're having a hard time with, what I'm gathering here is that something once beautiful, something that you're having a hard time trusting, this 10 of Cups here, this love, this abundance, it got a little bit rough in interpretation by others. And you are being called to change your perspective on that. You are being called to really lock it the hell in by this Hermit card. You are in need of maturity. The gods are talking to you. The Most High is talking to you. Source, divine, Jaja is talking to you. It's calling you to be the conqueror, the chief, the leader that you were always meant to be, and you are being protected. You are being divinely guided. Like, ocean is opulence, and you don't fuck around with that, okay? Like, all this fake shit, this, oh, I'm just watching sea turtles make out with each other a little bit. Triple confirmation, the love is on the way. The fucking sea turtles are making out, and you don't think there's someone out there for you that actually loves you for who you are, that is sent, literally plopped in your life? The divine don't play about you. This is divine opulence that we're talking about. Fearless love is what you're being called to right now, my love. And it sounds like you gotta step into it. You gotta tap into your shit. This all needs to be put back together in the way that it was meant to. It's supposed to be looking a lot more like this. Overflowing, beautiful energies. That's what we're supposed to be feeling. That's what the divine wants for you. Your soul is not bound up by violence, by savagery. Your spirit, your divine connection, the love that you have to give and to receive, all of that is not dictated by anything external. It is all divinely given to you by the divine. And bonus points if you recognize that to really connect with divinity, if you don't have love for yourself and healthy boundaries for yourself, you are not going to be in a very good position to be collaborating with divine forces, because if you don't have boundaries, and then you think they don't have boundaries. Let me tell you something about divine energies and sources. They have set boundaries. case and effing point, what'd they say? I'm a flip through it. Boundaries. What'd they say? You must not speak to anyone when making an offering to Mame Kumbabang. Sing for her, chant for her, call to her. She said, you ain't talking to nobody. When you dealing with me, we are having a direct conversation. Our conversation is together. When you're working with certain energies, they set boundaries. If you can't accept that you are allowed as a basic human right boundaries, you're gonna have a really hard time connecting with the actual divinity, and you are gonna fall into the trap so many other so-called spiritual practitioners fall into, which is to only look to the divine for the surface level opulence, you know? You're gonna make that mistake again and again. Don't fuck with this one though. Fearless love will fuck you up still. But you gotta let it go. I think that's your biggest problem isn't greediness like others. And I think you know that a lot of people are just fucking greedy out there with tapping into their divine energies, with monetizing things, just lots of greed, insatiable hunger. I think the last time, I'm pretty sure the other card was the energy vampire one, of scarcity. And you have that, you see those energies around you, and they've been coming at you, to be honest. I'm not talking about that with you. You don't have a greed problem. You have a letting it go problem. You figured out the cheat code to outside society. What the universe, what the divine is preparing you for is not to deal with them. You already know that. You're good at that. What the divine is now training you for is to have the intuition. One of the cards said that, the intuition that is gifted to you by the divine, to be able to set the two apart. Your past and your present. Yes, I know it's scary to love. I know it's scary. But look me in the eye and tell me you didn't come all the way back here to do that. You'd be lying to yourself if you said that you did not come here to this earth time and time again to try to feel that. I'm talking to someone specific. Tap into that cosmic power. It's yours, both of them. I've always thought that in the Ten Commandments, which for me, if I were reading this for myself, I know for me, the Ten Commandments is the thing that was once beautiful and then bastardized, because it just kind of like omitted me as a person, it felt like. But imagine if we reframed a lot of these principles, not as laws that limit us down and are to be used to weaponize against us, but if we really alchemized it and converted it into what it really means. Not committing adultery sounds more to me like not looking at the connection that someone else has and wanting it for yourself, when you as a divine being, as an individual, are supposed to be divinely contracted with the divine to do your own thing, your own version of love. Don't look to other people. Find yourself, you know? And don't be coveting other people's stuff, like their own connection with the divine and their own connection with their family as a result of that divine connection. You have your own. Go get it. You know? Honoring your father and your mother sounds more like honor the divine and in the feminine and the masculine. Honor your divine Mawu-Lisa. And gosh, you don't have to lie to yourself anymore. I know a lot of people betrayed you and that's why you're fucking good at it. You don't have to do that anymore. You've been given bigger and better than that. And all this greed, all this material, when you could be tapping in with the source. No other god sounds like you don't have to serve money and hurt people in the process of it. I was watching the 10 Commandments because it's my favorite movie to watch during Holy Week. And I will go off about that because it came up. It's Holy Week for those that celebrate Easter, and last week it was Passover, and those two things are linked together. I don't know how many people commonly understand this, but Easter, if you're celebrating it as a Christian and not the original intention of Ostera, which is fertility, birth, and spring and all that, if you're doing the bastardized version of celebrating Jesus' resurrection, it's never been lost on me, not when not as long as I've known it was not lost on me that Jesus chose the Passover Seder weekend to do the most incredible act of self-sacrifice in order to save a collective that didn't even know according to those scriptures. Ooh, and my trauma is showing because this shit really does still hurt me sometimes. But when I think about that, I think about how not very different our world is today when I look back not only at the biblical situation of Jesus, but also what's happening, how the story was told in the 10 Commandments movie all those years ago, and what's happening in our world today with this situation with Kilmar. It is not lost on me that his wife and this card feel very fucking similar when she addressed the media and she spoke to her husband between the barriers of media. That same divine contract said to not lie. And what are they doing but lying on this man? That's crazy to me. And she had said in her interview or in her press conference, the wife of this poor man, she said that he was supposed to be home celebrating Easter with his family. It's Holy Week. He's supposed to be preparing with his family. And it's interesting because, listen, let's have a conversation about Holy Week because Jesus also prepared for it. It is not lost on me that Jesus chose to do his incredible act of self-sacrifice during a time where that debt had already been paid, and that was what they were celebrating in the first place. Let's have a conversation about Passover. I'm okay with going the fuck off. This one's gonna be longer than I'd like, but I don't give a shit. Egypt, at a certain point, had some respect for whoever it was that the Israelites were rocking with divinely. This is according to the Christian Bible. Look, you can read it for yourself. I am just spitting the facts that's in there in my own words. So you have this sexy ass dude, right? And one of my favorite things about Joseph is that he is the epitome of a little shit younger sibling walking around not realizing all of the trauma in the room as he's running his mouth about how blessed he is. And I say that because, and this all has to do with Passover. Just follow me here. Just lock it in with me. This is all about Passover. Let's talk about context, because people like to just randomly drop Bible text and verses and I said it at 4:44. They like to just drop it all around like it doesn't have anything to do with each other, but follow me on this journey. So let's move our asses back over to Egypt. All right? And there's trauma in this family that Joseph comes from, right? Because this is Jacob. And his trifling ass, okay, has 2 wives and several concubines, okay? And those women were at odds with each other. There's this whole story about how Jacob loved Rachel, not Leah. Leah was homely looking bitch, and Rachel was hot. And he was willing to work all this time to get the hot one. And then their father gave him the oldest homely one instead of the hot one that he wanted. I'm serious. This is literally, go read it. Go turn in your Bibles and go read about it. That's exactly what this asshole did. And listen, I'm not a fan of, listen, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all of them, ridiculous. God made a covenant with some dudes, okay? Like, I have problems, but that's God's business. What he did was, he had this guy, and he had a bunch of kids. But what people don't know is, similarly to how Hagar was treated under Abraham and Sarah's house, Leah and Rachel's concubines, Leah's concubines and Rachel's concubines were treated exactly the same. You're breeding machines. You just had the children, and you blessed this man with kids. Now, that was not the divine contract that God had in store according to the Bible, and there's evidence of that because when he got Hagar out, she birthed a nation. That's what the Quran's about. That's Islam. Nobody wants to talk about that, but follow me on this journey. So now we have Joseph, and he's walking in here as the youngest, not seeing all this trauma, all of this like mother bitterness. You know, the bitterness between the 2 mothers, his mom and his brother's moms, and how his father treated all of them different because they didn't come from his best girl. Yeah. This is a polyamorous nightmare, okay? This isn't even polyamory. This is bullshit, okay? This is not the shit, okay? So you got this hierarchical weirdness going on. And then you have this kid who doesn't know any better. He just knows he's been given the gift of interpreting dreams. Not only does he get the downloads, he knows exactly what the fuck it means prophetically. And he's walking in here in all his audacity, talking some, I'm amazing, you're all gonna bow to me, I'm just letting you know. Home slice, the trauma that got activated, listen, the generational fucking betrayal that these men did not successfully body. His brothers go ahead and just sell his ass all the way to Egypt. And guess who picked his ass up and was in the process of selling them? The Midianites. We'll get back to the Midianites. Don't worry, I'm coming back to this story. Oh, there are a couple of people out there who have been wanting this, and you've had to wait 40 whole minutes to get this story, but here we go. So, you have the Midianites, and they're like, sure, random dudes who want to sell your brother, I'm happy to take him off your hands. Okay? They have some connection, because I'll get there. We'll get back to the Midianites. So Joseph ends up getting sold, and his brothers like fake his death and everything. Like, they take this beautiful coat of color that his dad gave him, which, again, audacious. Like, how you got 20 billion sons and daughters and you give only one of them something nice in front of all of them. Just that whole line, A1 parenting, I tell you what, and I mean that sarcastically, I could never, but here he goes with his fucking favorite, and then his brother, his other sons are like, fuck that kid, get him out of here. They were gonna kill him, and then one of them felt bad about it and had him sold. So then this dude ends up in Egypt by the Midianites, okay? They drop him off and he gets sold to this guy who is, for all intents and purposes, like, he's pretty influential in Egypt. I think Potiphar, like, he was high-ranking official. I don't remember everything, but you could probably find it out. Big enough to have an estate and slaves. So here comes Joseph, and he's Potiphar's slave, and he does well under this man's house. And this guy Potiphar's like, you know what, boy, like, I like you. I'm gonna make you the headmaster of my house. You've taken care of business for me. I don't have to worry about anything. And for a while, Joseph is thriving in that environment. He's doing great. He's doing great until this dude's wife, Potiphar's wife, nasty ass. This is my little plug. It is still Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and sexual assault awareness is for the masculine energies as well. I hear you, I see you, and you are seen in the Bible too. Whether men in the, that interpret the Bible want to actually see it and call it out is another story altogether. But I am here from a two spirit divine masculine to my other divine masculines. Joseph was a sexual assault survivor. Let's just fucking say that, okay? He's in this house. He is a slave, and a random woman, a random older married woman, rolls up on him, sneaking around trying to cheat on her man because she's having her unsatisfied shit. Now, here's the thing. This is not an excuse, but her reasoning, allegedly, is that Potiphar was castrated. So he could not lay the wood and the pipe like she wanted. And so instead of having a conversation with her husband about what she could do, she goes and finds the nearest sexy ass house slave, because Joseph was fine as fuck, I hear. According to the Christian Bible, he was fine. She finds a sexy man, and she's just like, I'm gonna just rape him. And she grabs on this dude, Joseph. Yes, read it. Go in there and read it. She forces herself on him. And he's like, I don't want to do this. He says no. He sets a clear boundary. No. He sets boundaries. Boundaries are not, is for everyone. Boundaries are for everyone. That is baseline. He said no to this woman. She starts ripping him his clothes off, and he runs away, and she has his shirt. She turns around and goes around talking some, he raped me. He tried to take advantage of me, and had him thrown in jail. Because it's her powerful words against this poor man, this slave. He did not ask for any of this shit, okay? He was just born. I saw this cute little video sidebar on like Instagram, and this kid's just like, you're gonna tell me that I was born without my permission, and that I have my life in my hands? What am I supposed to do with it? I'm cooked, bro. Like, honestly, I could see how Joseph might be feeling some of those vibes. So that you have this man who has been sexually assaulted and then falsely accused of the crime that was committed against him. And I know this happens to men. I know this does. I know this happens to masculine energies and men. I know it does. It is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and I am talking to you. Anyways, so this man ends up in prison. And in there, his God is working in him. He's interpreting dreams. They are coming true, and he is busted out of there after a while. Because the Pharaoh now needs his dream interpreted, and boy, he comes in clutch with the assist. Let me tell you, he comes in there and he's like, listen, I've been fucking waiting for this my whole life. I got thrown in Egypt because I was yapping my mouth about dreams I understood. Let me tell you, let me put you on. You're gonna have a famine. You're gonna have 7 years of harvest. Like, he literally predicted harvest time for a nation, followed by 7 years of famine. I think it was 7 good years and 7 bad. And during that plentiful time, this guy Joseph orchestrated a plan to help save not like all of Egypt, the surrounding areas. And I'll tell you what, Egypt was going around like conquering external lands. They were trying to take over the continent of Africa if they could. They were a conquering nation at the time. They had slaves from all over. So you have this nation that needs to be fed, and the Pharaoh is listening to him. Like, yes, I have all of this, but he gave someone to Pharaoh in order to help him take care of everyone. Now let me tell you how the story goes. I'm still getting to Passover, okay? So we're in Egypt. This Pharaoh sees the wonders that are working. Joseph, in all of this, finds a way to actually heal the fucking trauma and betrayal that he experienced from his family. That's Joseph, same guy. Healed his shit, got his whole family out there, and Egypt flourished for a very long time, cohabitating with all of these other nations, including the Israelites, including him and his family. And then, let's fast forward. Let's go over to Exodus, because this is where Passover starts, because somewhere in there, that Pharaoh who rocked heavy with them and everybody was collaborating and it was a flourishing time, that guy dies. And a new Pharaoh comes in and he's like, I want fear. I want chaos. I want subjugation. I want slaves. And he turns an entire group of people, the Hebrews, into his personal slave. That's it. All they do is slavery. All they do is subjugation. All they do is for him. And then to take it a step further, the same and everyone after him, because this is 400 years of slavery that ends up happening. After this guy comes in, 400 years worth of generational pharaohs come in, keeping up with that same fucking energy. Yeah, that's what people aren't putting into perspective. Imagine you have Joseph, and then 400 years later, you have Moses. And between those two, we had a nice Pharaoh that was collaborating with us and was, quitting all that shit and taking care of business. And then you have a master butcher of the highest order of master butchering, okay? He does everything, he pulls out all the classics of a dictatorship. He's raping women left and right. He's keeping everyone from connecting with their divineness and their individuality and their lineages, and he's making everyone pay tribute to him. And they don't know Joseph. None of them know Joseph. After all this shit that Joseph and his dream shit helped the nation of Egypt with, 400 generational pharaohs later, and they don't give a fuck about all that because capitalism reigned. The dictatorship reigned. Okay? And so, it is said in the Christian Bible that God heard the cries of his people. And there was a prophecy that someone would be delivering. There always is a prophecy of a deliverer, always. Someone's always setting that into motion. Someone's going to save us. Someone's going to do the work. But I'll tell you what, it is never just the one person. I'll tell you one thing. For every one prophet, for every one deliverer, for every one redeemer, there are multitudes of practitioners and divinely led individuals that are praying and interceding and blessing that person on their behalf, praying them up, singing them up, loving them up, doing readings and everything. That is the divine purpose of a lot of us that feel like we are meant for nothing, that are told we're meant for nothing, but have all of this ability to tap into the divine. Sometimes you are the one that has to step in front of a pharaoh and say, let my people go because the divine told me that. And some of you have alchemized divine trauma and have become bigger than what a story previously had you at, because I'm getting to the Midianites. Remember, I said that the Midianites had a hand in the slave trade of Joseph into Egypt. So Moses shows up on the scene in Egypt, and he's a prince, but he kills an Egyptian, and he's like, shit, I gotta go. Now, in some movies, he banishes himself. Prince of Egypt, he sends himself off into the wilderness. He's grief-stricken, even though he feels a little bit divine righteousness of doing it, which is why he left, right? In the Ten Commandments, he is banished by Ramesses himself. Regardless, go into your Bibles, all y'all Christians who might have forgotten, and those of you who may need a refresher of the divine that you keep saying you follow, I'll tell you about that guy, because in that book, I already know my God. I have the Egyptian Book of the Dead, I have the Quran, the Holy Quran, or the Egyptian Book of Life, I should say. I have the Holy Quran, I have Return of the Taino. I am tapping in with my shit, but if you need a refresher on your Jewish God and all of the things that are happening, the energies surrounding redemption, Easter, and Passover, let me tell you about it. So we get Moses on the scene. He takes a minute. He's in the wilderness, and just before he's about to drop his ass dead, guess who runs across him? The daughters of the high priest of Midian. Oh yeah, so now all of a sudden, the same people who sold ancestrally 400 years ago Joseph into slavery are now ancestrally have become the high priests that literally serve as the oasis for Moses' soul as he recalibrates and gets in touch with the divine again. He finds the love that he did not realize he was absolutely entitled to. He was protected. See the Ankh energy there? And the sword? But that love, ooh, in Zipporah. And his family, he made his found family, he tapped in with the divine. And then, after his family, after locking it in, after having his time of peace, that's when God was like, come up, we need to talk. Come chat with me, we need to talk. Take off everything. In my presence, the divine sets a boundary. In my presence, you take your shoes off. This is holy ground. You are bare with me. And that God sends him to Egypt. We all know the story. Moses goes up in there, let my people go. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of the Hebrews, sent to give us freedom. One of my favorite quotes in the Ten Commandments is, God made man, man made slaves. Well, let's talk about Passover, because we're going to fast forward through all those plagues. We already know about the plagues, but what we don't talk about is the Passover Seder and how that was happening while the 10th plague was going on. You see, the Bible says the angel of death. Some translations call that energy the angel of death. Other translations say that that was not an angel of death. I believe the original Hebrew suggests that God became what is known as the destroyer. All that love and light creator energy had to morph into the part that does giveth and taketh away. And so God and her divinity, in the divine cosmic powers of the dark and the light, showed up and took the firstborn. The only ones that were left were the ones who had the blood of the lamb on their doorpost. Yeah, you see? Same verbiage. Yeah, we're talking about Holy Week. We're talking about Easter. We're still talking about Easter. And we're still talking about Kilmar. And we're still talking about his beautiful wife. Now we're in a situation where we are having to eat a specific meal. We don't have time to raise the bread. Why are we eating bitter herbs? Y'all should check on that. Why are we eating the bitter herbs? Why are we reserving 10 drops of wine on our plates? Why can't we celebrate? This isn't a time of celebration. You're not supposed to celebrate right now. You're supposed to be a little bit somber, because while they were eating the last meal, their last supper in bondage, there are cries. People are mourning the loss of their loved ones that were not covered. The blood debt was not paid. Whew. So, Passover was specifically about the last moments before redemption. And every single time a plague came, Pharaoh hardened his heart. But after losing his firstborn son, Pharaoh felt some type of way and was like, get the fuck out of my face, right? Grief-stricken. Until he found some more human audacity. And the children of Israel now are leaving. I'm about to tell this whole story. They're leaving. The original translation of the Bible says it this way. The same word that is used to describe the Holy Spirit in the Bible is a feminine word. The Hebrew word is a feminine word. And that same feminine word for the Holy Spirit is used to describe God's breath that blew and parted the Red Sea so that the children of Israel could walk by safely. It is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. It is not lost on me that Mother God has been systemically removed from the conversation of divinity long enough, when every iteration of holy text that I have read, the one I've been well versed in the most is the Bible. I was raised a Seventh-day Adventist Christian. And yet, to me, omit the woman from everything, every single time. The divine feminine and masculine here were present. Jesus also had a Last Supper before he redeemed those that claim to be Christians. And what happened? Oh, got fucking betrayed and denied. His whole friend's throat chakra got completely locked up, denied 3 times by his own homies, and I get it. And he had to look his own homie in the eye, Jesus did, that same night that he was betrayed, that he inevitably gets completely assassinated. That same night he has to look a loved one in the face and be like, hey, listen, I know that your trauma's showing, and I'm not talking to you the love that I have for you. I am talking to the fear that you're embodying right now because you're too afraid to love me. You're too afraid to love me. In the face of tyranny, I know that you are. So I'm going to tell Satan to get behind me. And you know what Jesus does after he resurrects? He goes to him, Simon Peter, do you love me? He gives him a chance to take it back because he knows that that man in there loves him more than that fear. And yeah, he died alone. Jesus did. He did die alone. For shit he didn't even do. He got accused of shit he didn't do. Taken away from his family and his loved ones. And the entire civilization just let it happen. If they weren't actively participating in the heinousness, they sat by and watched and said it wasn't their problem. Interesting how often black and brown men are accused of the heinous shit that their accusers are often doing. Yes, we're still talking about Kilmar and how he is being accused of the very things that we all know his accusers are being accused of. But let me tell you something really cool about the Ten Commandments movie. I loved the irony laced throughout. Ramesses always saying, so let it be written, so let it be done. I loved the brutal imagery of Nefertiri cursing her own son with her manipulativeness. Because she too couldn't break from the need, the visceral need, to be in love with just one thing. She put all of her eggs in this one basket of Moses, and was so angry that he found connection in a woman who was deeply rooted to her spirituality. Some of y'all are dealing with some two-dimensional ass people who make you feel okay, but don't give you the bread and butter that the divine gives you. So I'm speaking to a certain kind of person when I say this. And we're also still talking about Kilmar. And we're also still talking about Jesus. And we're also still talking about Moses. And we're also still talking about Joseph. Because it is said, there's some speculation, that the Midianites actually have connection to Abraham directly from none other than Hagar herself, a sexually assaulted woman who is saved by the divine and given a new covenant and contract with God himself and with God herself, and was given a divine lineage. I mean, Mawu-Lisa. What's this? Where did that come from? Abraham and Hagar. A woman who did not consent to be a slave in Egypt in the first place. Who did not consent to be sold to another person. Who did not consent to be brutalized by some man of God. Because God did not ordain that encounter at all. He said Abraham and Sarah would have a child. Sarah, her ratchet ass, gave a human being to another human being and was forced into a sexual encounter she did not want. Yes, I'm saying that plainly. And forced to bear a son. And then, to take it a step further, is villainized half the time in the Christian Bible for saying, I should be given good foods. You brutalized me. I have a right to be bitter about the brutalization. What people don't talk about, because all the movies like to talk about bitter-ass Hagar, bitter-ass Hagar. When was the last time you got sold to a man you didn't want to be with and treated like cattle afterward because you're just a lowly slave? Hagar wasn't even her name. Hagar, the word Hagar just means slave. And so it is said that the Midianites came from a woman, and I don't remember her name, but I will post it in the description. And it is speculated that that is the real name of Hagar. That she came back after having this divine covenant of Ishmael. She came back to Abraham later on after Sarah died and birthed Midian and 5 other children. She birthed 6 with Abraham, this person. It's speculated. I don't know for sure. Historians need to hit with that regardless of whether or not you are a nameless person that was taken advantage of and given a divine contract regardless of that violation. You know, God went to Hagar twice after that assault of Abraham to make sure she knew she was taken care of. Okay? Check your Bibles. He came to her twice and said, I'm sorry, I did not sign up for that. I told them they had their contract with me. They went behind my back and did something different. So you and I are locking it in. And just trust me, I'm going to take care of you. Don't worry about that shit. I'm taking care of you. He said that to that nameless woman. Okay? So whether that is your arc, or whether you feel that you can give someone a second fucking chance. The Midianites had a second chance. They went from slave traders to holy priests that fed the next liberator of a nation. Okay? whatever you are an alchemist nonetheless. And your divine right baseline is to be able to have the boundaries to set with yourself, because the blood price was paid. You are not a shabti. A shabti is what the Egyptians, little like slave effigies that the Egyptian dead would have with them, so that they are taken care of in the afterlife. That is not you. You are not an object. You are made in the image of divinity. And so, if the story of this Christian God that Kilmar and his family believe in, but also this administration supposedly believes in too, try to remember that every single time that book has a Redeemer arc. The pharaohs in the story never end up having good situations after. Never. Every single time. People are systemically oppressed under the guise of spiritual hierarchy. The blood debt must be paid. And if the divine said it was already paid several times, and people are still bastardizing it and pretending that people like Kilmar and people in communities that are unlike theirs have to pay some sort of soul price in order to make their lives easier somehow, whether that be getting out of the way or assimilating, whatever the hell it is these dictators like for us to do, and instead of being ourselves, it never works out for them in the end. So to Kilmar and his family, all I have to say is remember the origins of this Holy Week. You believe Jesus died on the cross for you, and that you should be celebrating that redemption, celebrating the freedom, celebrating that the blood debt has been paid and that there should never be any more death, sorrow, pain. The former things are passing away. We believe in that heaven. We believe in that debt so that we can get there. That's what his family believes, and all I'm just saying is to those of you who fucking forgot who you're dealing with. I know who I'm dealing with. I got my shit. This is not my shit. This is your shit. I'm just telling you about your shit, and if you fucking forgot who you're dealing with, the divine is sick and tired of you raping his resources. The divine is sick and tired of you raping her resources. The bill comes due. What's done in the dark is just going to embarrass you in my face, because it's all love and light here. And I want people to remember that every iteration that you can think of, I mean every single one, I'll raise you your white Jesus. Keanu Reeves did not die on the cross of the Matrix for y'all to be out here acting like you can't liberate your fucking selves. But I'm not talking about that so much as I'm talking about remembering that the blood debt was paid. And so anything after this, all I know is that I reside in love and light, but that same love and light is also the destroyer. The same pillar of fire that separated the Egyptians from the Hebrews is the same cosmic power that blew their winds and parted those waters so that those children could get to safety. It was the same pillar of smoke that shaded the children of Israel in the daytime so that they were not hot. The same energies that feed are the same that destroy. And it does not belong to the people. It does not belong to the accuser. You see, that is what Satan is, this Christian ideology of Satan. He is the accuser. That's what they call him in the original translation, is the accuser. He blames you for everything he's guilty of. So to those who are complicit in what is happening in our world today, I want to remind you that those that were complicit did not paint their doors, and they suffered the same consequences as those that were actively participating, like Pharaoh and his military forces. Bithia was smart. Bithia was Moses' Egyptian mom. I got my shit. The Midianites had their shit. Bithia had her own shit. Everybody has their divine contracts with God. Hagar has her own divine contract. We all have our own divine contracts. But what we cannot deny is just the basic fucking human rights. That is what connects humanity. That is why we are able to be different and yet a collective. Because no matter what, we have the same basic rights as human beings that breathe in and out. It is time to fight. It is basic human rights that we're fighting for now, and that's ridiculous after fucking millennia on this earth as humans, and we still haven't figured that out. That man does not deserve to be in a prison, and we all fucking know that. And these accusers are just telling on themselves. Spreading this information, yep, hour 22 and 22, they're spreading this misinformation to cloud us from the reality that they are afraid. If us spiritual baddies can feel the shifting in the universe, all this chatter is just the reflection of fear. Don't let the past, and most certainly don't let these evil motherfuckers make you betray yourself. Lock it in. Accept the love of the divine. That's your job. All I know is this next phase belongs to this. For you Christians out there who forgot the kind of God you serve, let me remind you that the same one who delivered the Hebrews out of Egypt is the same God who delivered African Americans from the subjugation of white people in the South and all over this country. And it is the same one who will deliver the queers and the brown and indigenous folk here. They will deliver every single one that is in divine original contract with the divine and source. And all of you materialistic sons of bitches that are going around trying to cause calamity against us and against people like Kilmar and his family and against the queer community. Those of us who know the stories know exactly how this plays out one way or another. Last week I took 10 drops of wine out for every single one of the people who will feel this next part. Because I am not excited for what is to come. I am humbled by the knowledge that I have of what is to come. Humbled. Because the power that it takes for a woman to stand in front of a nation of people and call out a dictator on behalf of her husband who is innocent takes the strength of a divine chief, ready to let the divine go to war on her behalf. The divine hears you. And to you, because I feel like I'm speaking to a few different kinds of people here, all within the same collective, I am incredibly proud of you. And I am charging you with the same shit that any other spiritual practitioner with some sense would charge you with, and that is to lock it in. And sometimes that means you gotta step into yourself. Get real locked and loaded with the divine. Don't be afraid of the growth. The growth process belongs to you. Don't be afraid of perspective changes. It's gonna lead you to the abundance that is divinely led for you. This ain't you. But this is. And 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 this is. I see so much of you. Own that shit. I love you. Don't you tell me that it's love or money. I want both. Anyway, I'll let you take one from me. I want both. Dollar bills on me. I don't remember the words. Beep, yeah. Reap that harvest and that abundance. Because it's all of it. Anyways, I love you. Take care. I'm gonna take a drink break and hang up on you.